Oh, you know your fist is mighty when it fills the whole screen. Oh, yes. Hello and welcome to today's Daily Preach on Monday. Oh, we know we hate Mondays, don't we? We hate it. Goddamn Mondays. I had this wonderful time called the weekend where I could just, you know, do whatever the hell I wanted. And how dark is it getting? My God, this room, even with its lights on, is really dark. Oh my God, I feel like I sit in the darkest room ever. I'm like a total turbo nerd when it comes to the daily now. I'm just sat in this dark room on my own, talking to the PC. Super nerd! Super nerd, but what can we do? We could get some lights, but there's no room for them. Trollface, trollface.org. Episode 1 is a trollface. Okay! Firstly, the Australians. I can see Ghosty still calling them rippers. It was only a joke, as we know that you guys don't say ripper. Although there was some defense, like we say it in this town, we say it here, we are rippers in this area and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we do our best. We do our best to just give you a little bit of a troll every now and again. It's been a wonderful day. I've been playing the mage. Oh yes, the mage. I was really looking forward to the mage. I kind of stagger the classes sometimes for ones that maybe I don't enjoy too much, like the shamans and stuff like that. I don't mind shamans, but I certainly wouldn't class them as one of my favourite specs. And I'm trying to move it back up, and I got into Hunter. I love Hunter, and then bring it back down again and all that kind of stuff. Down to the Monk, which is a volatile concept to say the least. And it's all like, ooh, what should we do, what should we do? You see a lot of people like, how is Frost? How is this? How is that? They're okay, they're fine. But nothing is comparable to Fire, my fucking God. Fire is the first guide I've done in a long time where I actually went into LFR for fun. As crazy as that sounds, I went into LFR for fun. For straight up fun. And my God, did I destroy. I absolutely decimated. I destroyed the fucking meters, and I haven't done that for a while. My classes have kind of been left behind while I've been doing all the guides. My own characters, that is. And I was beneficial enough that one of you wonderful people lent me a mage that was 481 item level, which is by no means cutting edge. I mean, the cutting edge player is like 500 now, 501 maybe. But I got 481 mage, and holy shit. It was just the most incredible fun. It really was the most incredible fun. I'm going into actually being like, I want to do LFR. I haven't felt that way in a very long time. I want to do LFR. So there I go. I queue my ass up. I wait, what, 25 minutes? In I go and just destroy the place. Absolutely decimated the place. It was so fun. It really was a whole world of fucking greatness. I absolutely enjoyed the shit out of it. Have you guys got the same thing as I noticed? Is if you queue for the later LFRs, nobody's got any gear and they can't get into them. I tried to go to the Heart of Fear LFR. I think the queue time for that was roughly about 55 minutes or something stupid, because nobody's got any gear to get in there. So you're just on your own. It's like being so far ahead you're in Team Zero. I mean, Team Zero and I can't get in. It's just like ridiculous. It's just sat there like, I really don't want to do Mogisham Vaults. I want to go into Heart of Fear and do some DPS, but I can't. Ooh, sad face, sad face, sad face. So it was pretty fucking awesome actually, and I kind of want to do just a small video of just what happens even when somebody like me who doesn't play a mage as a main and has only ever played a mage raid-wise for progression in vanilla, and I played somebody else's character then. So my experience with a mage probably totals somewhere around 20 hours. And for someone like me to pick up a character with decent gear and just go and fucking rock it. Absolutely rock it. I'm sure I made a million mistakes, but it didn't matter because I know the general gist of what to do, and oh, have mercy, it was fun. It was fucking so enjoyable. I love Fire. Fire, I would easily probably class Fire as the #1 spec that I enjoy the most out of all of Mr. Pandaria so far. I truly recommend anybody to get a mage, get it to 90, and just go and have some fucking fun with Fire. Even if you don't want it as a main, even if you don't want to play it all the time, just get it up to a level, an LFR standard, and just start to enjoy yourself. Because when things start to burn, they burn, and they burn hard, and that is just fabulous. Because it mixed in with it is it's not an overly complex style of play. It isn't. It's just not a very complex style of play. It's something that you can just sit back and enjoy. And your screen is filling with lights, which means you're going to blow the crap out of something. And they're getting those chain pyroblasts. Oh, wonderful experience. Absolutely wonderful. But on the back of that, as you know, I'm releasing the World of Logs 2 video tonight. I've got a couple of tweaky things to do, which is why the original Preach Gaming shirt is out, because I like to keep some sort of consistency between the videos. So I pulled out the original, the polo neck. Big grats to all those guys who fell in love with the Horde-themed hoodie, by the way. Fucking hell. We got so many orders just immediately after the rep show. So they were like, that is a cool hoodie. And they instantly went and got it. So GG to you guys, and thank you for helping us out. We're getting Ghosty a proper microphone with the money from that, so thank you very much. And I wasn't happy with the World of Logs I'd recorded, and then I started to rethink how I wanted to present the video. Very dangerous when you've completed a video to go, I could have done it this way and it'd probably be a lot more fun. So I decided, fine, you know, it's going to sit on my mind. Your gut instinct you should always follow. I try to tell you this about everything, not just in WoW, just in any general. Like when you walk past the door and you're like, I should close that door because X might happen. Just turn around and close the fucking door. Don't be that guy who's like, oh, well, I'm sat down now, so I'm not going to do it. Right? Be the guy who's like, I'll close the fucking door. I'll just do that little thing. Maybe I should have called that guy. And I'm sure you've always had that situation where like, maybe I should have called that person and told them that. Nah, it'll be okay. I assume things will be fine. Don't do that. Call the guy. Just let everybody know what's happening. Communication is the mother of all fuck-ups, or lack thereof, okay? Lack of communication, lack of just doing them tiny little things that take an extra second of your life. Do them, and it saves you a lot of hassle. So I was doing the mage stuff, and while I'm playing it, I'm having a blast, I'm having a whale of a time, I'm just enjoying the shit out of myself. I'm just like, this is ace, this is so much fun. I'm thinking to myself, I should change the World of Logs video. I'm like, oh, come on, I've already done it. So I decided to do it. So I ventured again into the LFR. Oh my god, this time on my warrior. One of the problems I had with the World of Logs videos is there wasn't much fail. And I wanted the World of Logs video to be looking at myself, because it's not really fair to look at other people and just be like, this guy sucks. Look how good I am. This is amazing. I'm the best player in the universe, okay? I'm just the best player in the universe. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at my own stats and then just mock everybody else around me. That kind of attitude. So I went into LFR into the second half of Mogician Vaults, which is what my warrior can queue for. I got trolled so hard, by the way. I got Star Shatter, the two-handed weapon. It was the only thing I generally really didn't need. I mean, it's great for Fury, don't get me wrong, but of all the loots I could get in LFR, it was the one I generally didn't need. Like, the sword I already have was equally as good. And so, it was the only item I got. I used my 3 coins, like a hero. I used my 3 fucking coins and didn't get shit. It was absolutely retarded. I got the fucking weapon, and I was like, really? You have received Star Shatter. I'm like, great. Does exactly the same as my current weapon. Thank you very much, Blizzard. You assholes. You absolute assholes. So I ventured into LFR, which I hadn't done yet. I hadn't done LFR past the first bit because I've been playing other characters. So I decided to do the other part, the Vault, I believe it's called. It was just the first one that popped up in my screen. I was like, yeah, I'll do that one. Queued for it for a little while as a DPS warrior for various reasons I'll show in the video. And what a fucking horrific experience. Oh my god. I went in to cause a couple of fails. So one of the things I wanted to do was die on Elegon by falling through the floor. Not interrupt things on Spirit Kings. And generally just be a massive fuck up on the Will of the Emperor. Is there another boss? I can't think. I don't think there is. It's just 3 bosses, yeah. I kind of wanted to do all those fails and show how they reflect in a log and stuff. So in Spirit Kings, I didn't interrupt for the first sort of 3 minutes, and it was driving me insane. It was absolutely annoying the crap out of me because nobody else was interrupting the boss. I was getting really frustrated. I couldn't take it anymore. It was just the most painful experience. I don't know why. I don't know whether I've just ingrained into myself that you should be fucking interrupting all the time. And I tell you in every video I do, if you can interrupt, do it. It helps the rest of the world. It helps everybody has a great time. And about 3 minutes in, I was shaking. I was like, why is nobody out of these 25 fucking people interrupting the boss? Why aren't you doing it? Well, at least somebody should be doing it. I'm just watching these casts go along my screen. It feels like they go in absolute slow motion for me. Like, after doing certain stupid interrupts, like Maloriak, I want to say. Yeah, Maloriak had the half-second cast that needed to be interrupted. I believe it was half-second. And being used to that and making sure you have to get 100% of those interrupts, I literally cannot stand when it's like a 3-second cast and nobody's interrupted. It feels like you have an eternity. You have an absolute eternity, and this bar is like, and it's just screaming, kick me! Kick me! And then it just gets up and you're like, oh my god, stop it! So I started interrupting on that one. So I got to Elegon, pretty easy to die to the floor, right? You just stay in the middle. And I was frapsing it as well to put in some of the background. Half the raid died. I was like, oh, I'm dying, so I could do this thing for the video. And I fall to the floor, and then suddenly half the fucking raid just goes, boo! Like a fucking collapse. You get the biggest warning in the world. The floor is disappearing. The floor is going away, okay? Dude, the floor! It's about to disappear. And literally the melee and the tanks just kablam out of it. And then, of course, the best thing ever, the casters and the healers, who literally stand as far back from Elegon as possible, right? And are in absolutely no danger of the floor dying. They have, what, like 20 seconds to get out of there compared to the 15 that the melee have. Not that I'm saying it's any different. They are the smuggest, elitist people in the fucking world. They're like, oh my god, how did you die? Oh, it's so easy to avoid. I literally just moved back steps and I'm free. That was my Delore impression, by the way. I moved back the steps and I'm done. And they're just like, they stop doing anything else completely and just start typing. They're like, holy god, I cannot believe you guys are so bad at this game. You are all the worst people in the universe. And then of course it comes to section 2 and they're like running through the laser beams and shit like, ha, that guy is so, I'm electrocuted and dying. And the rest of the raid died shortly after. However, LFR is so fucking trollface. LFR is so fucking retarded that you have like, I want to say there was 10 people left alive. 10 people left alive, and they continue to fight Elegon until Berserker. Why are you doing that? Why? In the love of fucking Christ are you doing that? Really? Why? Why are you doing that? And it's just, you can see this Berserker timer is like, ugh. There's no fucking possible way these guys are going to defeat the boss. Yet they continue. They soldier on. And you've got people giving advice. Of course, the guys who legitimately died through the falling floor then become the advisors. They become the people who sit in the thrones of wisdom and start passing out lovely justice, such as healer mana is relatively low. And I spotted this comment, so I started clicking through the healers. All were above 80% mana. And all the people that were alive were essentially warlocks who, like, couldn't have died anyway if they wanted to, you know? They've got that many defensive cooldowns. Like, killing a warlock even in a raid is hardcore. Like, the boss is like, dude, what is this class? This shit's overpowered. You know it's hardcore when the boss is complaining your class is overpowered. And they're just dotting everything. And like these, just the top 3 like affliction warlocks, just dotting everything and like a moonkin. Everybody else is a healer. And there's one tank who's like still alive for some fucking reason. He was tanking the ads like off on the platform so he couldn't have died. All that shit's going on. And they make everybody sit there. And the worst thing is, Blizzard doesn't let you release. So I was literally frapsing down the tunnel. Elegon's just wispy fucking fart in the bathtub image above me for like 10 minutes. I was like, turn it off. I was like, I'm not frapsing this anymore. I've had enough. Go away. So then it rolls onto the Spirit Kings. You can't fail the Spirit Kings. It's like almost impossible to fail it. But we had a tank who I wanted to do the shuffle. I wanted to do the dance, just for the hell of it. I haven't done the dance in a while. So I started doing the dance, and it was all going well until the tank really panicked. Like, it panicked at the fucking dance, and pulled the boss, like, directly against the wall, like Zinzao, whatever he's called. And there was just no room to go anywhere. And Zinzao's, like, dragging the whole world into him, like he's got Gorfine's grasp or some shit. He's, like, all the raids, like, discoing and circling around. And there's some hero, some total White Knight DK who's like tanking the Emperor's strengths and stuff like that. Really funny. How many people do you see DPSing the Courages from the front, even though they have the biggest fucking shield in the universe and it says immune? They're like, die motherfucker! AK-47. Ah! Ah! Immune, 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 immune. Fuck you, I'll break through this fucking shield. Perhaps we have to break through the shield, guys. Pile on! Ah! Ah! Hell, and I'm just behind it. Like, I was so far ahead of the damage on Will of the Emperor. It was just ridiculous. It looked so stupid. I had one of the worst sets of gears in there. I have no idea how I even queued up for this fucking shit. But all I can see is just people just like, don't know what's going on. There's mobs everywhere. I can't work this out. I don't know what to do. I'm going to just DPS the boss. And as soon as the bosses spawn, they're like, they're alive for a long time. I'm just going to DPS this, okay? I'm just DPSing the boss. And all the ads start building up, so eventually I ended up running around just cleaning up all the ads and shit. This brave DK soldier and the circle and the strength's like as big as the room. Shit like that. It was a great old run. Great old run. Great for World of Logs. You'd be happy to investigate it. You'll be happy to investigate it. Which should be pretty funny. I think so anyway. Okay, so for the remainder of this, I've got some World of Logs stuff to do. Which means I'm going to try and keep this within reasonable length. I wanted to answer some questions today, because I've got work to do after this. And so, we talked about gear last week, didn't we? We talked about all sorts of facets of gear, and then a lot of emails flooded in about gear and different perspectives on gear and different sort of ideas. And we had a couple of brave souls as well, some soldiers of the Preach Gaming Army. You guys are fucking awesome, who are freely able, which is the best thing ever, to admit when you've been a dick. It's very difficult, isn't it? We talked about this in the story times. It's very difficult to admit that sometimes you're an asshole. And this is online gaming. Near enough everybody's an asshole at sometimes, right? If not all the time. So I had a few emails come in that I kind of wanted to address today. I thought they were pretty cool. This one came in two parts because he accidentally pressed enter while he was typing the email. And it was titled Me Being a Dick with Loot. Because we spoke about that guy. One of the things we spoke about is that guy who complains endlessly and gets loot off people who deserve it. Like, they don't deserve it and complain, therefore they get the loot because people just cannot be asked with the QQ. I'm not interested, I don't care. And I told you specifically, do not bow to the whiners. Don't do it. If I bowed to the whiners, I would shut down my YouTube channel after 1 week. Oh my god, why do you say Holla? You're such a noob. You're a noob. PewDiePie says, baller, you're not allowed to. And then I find out what PewDiePie is. Not for me. Not for me. I'm not slagging him off. It's not for me. So this guy sent me an email. I like the way this email came through because you can see where he pressed enter. It's halfway through a word. Which is awesome. It's like, so I'm new to World of Warcraft, is how he opens his email. And I started playing in the end of Cataclysm. I rolled a DK. How classic is that? You joined the game in one of the lamest expansions during the end of Cataclysm, which was the lamest part of the expansion, and then rolled a DK. So cliche, it hurts, my friend. It really hurts. Like a baller does. Juan does not instantly roll a DK in World of Warcraft. I'm just going to put that out there. No. When I digged to 85, I wanted to do everything there was to do. Good for you, man. Good for you. But mainly I wanted to get into raiding. Good man. So, as lowly me worked my way up to the appropriate gear, I entered my first normal Dragon Soul. Normal Dragon Soul. I had full LFR gear. How long does it take to get full LFR gear? I cannot possibly imagine. And I thought I was the bollocks. Of course you do, don't you? You've got full epic gear that's like up to date-ish. Only 2 tiers behind, technically. But it's the same name, right? So fuck you. Fuck me, right? I've got full LFR gear. I think I'm awesome. I know what you mean, though. You get that gear and you're like, dude, yeah. Yeah. We cleared it with a couple of wipes, but it was okay since I've never raided this raid before. After a coup, enter button was pressed. We then go to the next email. Which opens with, I apologise, I'm a scrub, and hit the end button. Epic facepalm. I agree. So as I was saying, after a couple of weeks, my group and I were at Deathwing normal mode. Being an unholy DK, I say that Gerthalak drops. And I'm like, holy shit, I am going to be God with this weapon. So I instantly call out that I need it, which is like a ghost thing to do. Like this shit drops and you're like, I need it so badly. You cannot imagine how complete my life will be with normal mode Gerthalak. Although it's a pro weapon, don't dispute. I assume by having full LFR gear, though, you have the LFR version. So you're not that much upgraded. There is another person in the group that needs the weapon as well. And he says he also needs it. So we roll and he wins. Motherfucker. Dun, dun, dun. I lose my shit. And I whined like a total bitch. After a while, they gave me the weapon. Oh no! But still success, right? You got the weapon. Still, total success was achieved. You got the effing weapon. I got the weapon. Why is he getting the weapon? I am the shit. I have full LFR gear. Dude. Give it me. Oh, this guy's a total scrub. I cannot fucking believe it. I know, the chat is totally agreeing. It's like, success, I got the weapon. I instantly heart to Ogrimmar and enchant the weapon and walk around feeling like a total badass. I know what you've done, I've been there. You're like, hey, inspect me. See this shit? Normal mode Gerthalak. That's right. That's right. What are you wearing? LFR? Get over yourself. Normal mode. Normal mode. A few moments later, I see a warrior with the heroic Gerthalak and instantly feel my shame. So you're having a pee at the urinal, and suddenly this guy walks in with this 17-inch clobber knocker and piles it out next to you. But the guy next to you had a really small wiener, so you were like next to him like and some other guy walks in, it's a two-man job, and goes, idiots, and pulls out this massive chong. Call me a scrub and an ass. I know it's worse than the worst thing I've done. Confided this is a way of confessing my sins to the almighty preacher. Always ready to accept your sins, my friends, in pure anonymity, because at least you realise the fail in that process. Yes, indeed, walking around strutting your funky stuff is not always the best way to go about things. So people do care so much about gear, don't they? And at least, hopefully, through some of my videos, you can finally see some of the fail in especially crying like a bitch over loot. It never works out the way. It never comes well. Okay, and on the other subject of gear, an interesting topic came up as to why gear exists. This one was an interesting one with a couple of points I wanted to discuss. I watched your gear debate, however you didn't mention that you cannot enter heroics or LFR without a certain item level. Question mark. You're right, I didn't discuss that topic. That is blatantly obvious. Be careful with things that are blatantly obvious in your opinion. Okay? That Blizzard are encouraging people to have higher item levels. I can't see where that was ever disputed. It's very difficult that an RPG wouldn't encourage you in any way to have better gear. So I would agree that it's blatantly obvious that World of Warcraft does encourage you to get better gear. I fully agree with your blatantly obvious statements. It is in statements. However, because of the dungeon level requirements, I don't think so. Also, things like hit cap can only really be achieved with better gear. No, you can achieve it relatively easily in newbie gear. Okay, I'll read the email and then we'll discuss the topics. The minority of people, remember that, can keybind the shit out of their keyboard and be a baller like you. Bottom line is, it's much easier to improve play performance and enjoy your character with gear, which is a good thing and improves customer satisfaction. At the end of the day, the shiz want a large market base and a game that pleases the masses, hence minimum item level requirements for certain instances, otherwise people would be royally fucked off, failing over and over again. Now, There's a synergy you try to form with this statement that I just don't agree with it in some respects. That Blizzard is pushing gear on people to meet item level requirements, and that makes people happy. I think it's hard to say that people are unhappy if they couldn't get into... Hang on. Let me start that again. I think it would be difficult to say that people would be happier if they couldn't enter content. That's just a silly thing to say, isn't it? If you can't enter certain content, you are not happier than if you can enter all aspects of the game. That is why LFR came into creation. There were a lot of people who simply could not enter even normal mode, which is a relatively simplistic task. Let's face it, it is. But some people just couldn't do it. In fact, a vast amount of people just could not get into normal mode for a number of reasons. A lot of people instantly listen to what I've just said and hear those guys are scrubs. No, that's not the case. A lot of people just cannot raid. They cannot commit 2-3 hours. They can't do that. Even committing an hour to the game is not possible. What Blizzard said is they don't want, for reasons including monetary income, that those massive amounts of players aren't experiencing the content we are putting massive amount of hours into playing. And therefore, they are also unhappy because they know this stuff exists, but they can't play it. For reasons other than their skill level. People like to blame everything in the universe on skill level. Everything that's happened to World of Warcraft that they feel is negative is because of skill level. Because of bads. Bads get the blame for everything. Bad players are just bad players, unfortunately. That's just the way it goes. They can be helped when they want to be helped. And then they will become good players. That is the way of things. That is just how it goes. If you are bad at something, you can either accept you're bad or live in the delusional dream that you are awesome in every single way because you have full LFR gear. Thumbs up to you for getting those rolls. Max skill to get those rolls. And you believe you're doing awesome. I can't help those people. I've tried. I tried. In the very early days of my channel, I tried to help everybody. I was of the opinion that everybody can be helped. This is true. Not everybody wants to be helped. Okay. I will not help you. If you don't want to be helped, I should not waste my time. There are many people out there who want to be helped. That's cool. So, gear appealing to the masses. Gear does appeal to the masses. Can't disagree with you there. It does. Getting better gear makes everybody feel better. It makes the best players in the world feel better. It makes the worst players in the world feel better. Getting better gear. Can't debate that. Is there a synergy between that and Blizzard's intention for item level restrictions? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The item level restriction on dungeons, in my opinion, very important comment, in my opinion, exists for one reason only. One reason only, and that is to guarantee that the dungeon can be cleared by at least 3 people of appropriate gear. I think Blizzard has probably mathed out a calculation that 2 to 3 people in any 5-man dungeon probably know what's going on. In LFR, it's even less. I would say in LFR, they assume somewhere around 40%, maybe 35% will know what is going on and can defeat the encounter. It is not uncommon to see people not only soloing encounters, but more regularly duoing encounters. 2 people in a 5-man who are good at the game can easily clear pretty much everything in Mists of Pandaria that is 5-man content, be it heroic or otherwise. They can quite easily do that. You can duo it anytime you want to. I'm sure many of you could go out there now with your friend and duo most of the heroics and not have much problem whatsoever. What they want to do is, because you are being teamed up with randoms, and because there are bad players in this game, there's no doubt about that whatsoever, the item level restriction kind of means that there should be 2, maybe 3 people who know what they're doing, and the other 2 people should have enough gear to put out some helpful contribution. That's it. That is nothing more. It's not about appealing to the masses or promoting gear. It's not about encouraging gear level. It is purely designed to increase the success rate of dungeons, not to promote encouraging acquiring gear. It is entirely down to keeping the success rate of random dungeons high. If the success rate of random dungeons was low, let's say there was no item level restriction at all on any of the heroics. In Mists of Pandaria heroics, I don't think that would be too much of a problem, I've got to be honest. But let's hark back towards Cataclysm. where we first really saw this come in. At the capping of Cataclysm, even my full raid geared team, when we capped level 85, making sure I get that right, could not enter the heroics. We couldn't do it. We had to manually, oh god, so old school. You had to walk to the heroics and walk in the door. Can you imagine the horror? My god. We had to do that kind of crazy stuff to complete the dungeons, and our group easily defeated the dungeons. I say easily. Hall's Origination Trash was a fucking joke. In its first incarnation, that was not fun at all. But we could do it. No problem at all. We could get the dungeon done. We cleared everything all day. And still, by the end of the first day, I think only 1 out of the 5-man group actually had the item level to Q in LFR. In LFD, I should say. This continued a trend of a lot of groups failing in Cataclysm. Stonecore notoriously failed. Hall's Origination generally started to get past. Once the first pack was complete, most people could complete the dungeon. I'm trying to think of the other dungeons which were notorious failures and people used to leave instantly. Come on, give me some ideas. Which dungeons do we always fail? Oh, we've talked about this in the past, haven't we? The Blackrock Depths Caverns, that one, Blackrock Cavern. Shadowfang? Shadowfang Trash, perhaps. I don't think the bosses were too difficult, but the certainly this is the squeakiest chair ever. Blackrock Hall's Origination's coming up. Vortex Pinnacle, just people getting knocked off. Culling of Strathholm, everybody going for the timed run. That fucking time run was the bane of my life. People had no idea how to do that timed run. It hurt my face. We completed the timed run in the first week before we'd even started raiding. It was completely possible to do that timed run in a really undergeared group. It was entirely possible. But my god, when it started becoming possible for randoms to complete that and just charge their way through the end of that dungeon without speaking to Arthas. How many times did you see that where they just didn't speak to Arthas and failed it? My god. It was piss easy after about 2 months into the game. It was completely piss easy, but people tried to do it on the first fucking day. Not talking to Arthas was the worst thing in the universe. Someone just pointed out one, Ali actually pointed out there the most important dungeon that I completely forgot about. Oculus. The Oculus. Now, the Oculus is a perfect example. Why was the Oculus so ultimately failure doomed? Right? Why was it so doomed to failure? Why was the Oculus so fucking terrible? Why could people not complete the Oculus? So I want to see in the chat. I want to see why you think it was. Alright, we've already got the answer, but I'm still having my drink anyway. Yes. Ah, good stuff. Luscious water. Drakes. Vehicle combat. Vehicle combat that also required coordination from your group. Oculus could fail immediately after the first boss. Immediately. Because, first of all, in general, you needed to have a balanced set of drakes. Then you had to get the drakes out of your bag. Then you had to fly the drakes to specific three-dimensional locations within a fucking environment. This was absolutely mind-boggling to a lot of players. I saw some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. Just brief examples of suddenly you turn around and everybody's on a healer drake. Or you would have, and then of course Blizzard made the ultimate mistake of asking for achievements in the Oculus, which involved specific coloured drakes. There's nothing worse than being that guy who is asking people to do achievements in random dungeons. That is a terrible thing to do. Don't do it. Don't ever do that. Don't be that guy who goes into LFD and starts asking people to do achievements. It's really annoying. Most people do not want to do that at all. If you get really lucky, good on you. But you're going to ask 1,000 people before people start saying, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And then they will purposely wait till other people get it. So as the tank, I would pick up the tanking drake, most likely. Then I would expect the DPSs to pick up the 3 DPS drakes, the ruby drakes, as I recall. And then the healer to pick up the green drake. It's pretty fucking easy. They're all assigned up very easy. The guys tell you this is for DPS. But of course, those people need to read their comments. When you talk to the wizard that gives you your drake, you need to read a paragraph of text. It's far too fucking much for a lot of people. And they just couldn't handle it. They could not physically handle it. It was so annoying. And Oculus was the bane of life. And that was nothing to do with gear. I think ultimately they made the drakes scale with gear to make it even easier because people couldn't do it. We're slightly off topic there anyway. But Cataclysm had a Wasn't even a Cataclysm dungeon, was it? It was a Wrath of the Lich King dungeon. Wrath of the Lich King dungeon, yeah, it was. It was a total Wrath of the Lich King dungeon. However, getting back to the point, is Blizzard just could not allow this consistent failure to happen, especially when it came to things like DPS, healing. It just couldn't happen, even though you had more than enough gear. You had more than enough gear to complete the dungeon. You did. If you could play a class in any remote way, you could complete the dungeon in far lower gear than the item level restrictions. But Blizzard needs to take into account, and how can you blame them? How can you possibly blame them for saying some people just won't get this? That is the best business strategy out there. We can't expect everybody to be fucking researching the shit out of this game in the background of actually playing it. We want people to play the game. We don't want them to sit on websites. We don't want them always to sit on YouTube and fucking research the crap out of their class. Most people just won't do that. So we build in the item level restrictions, which enables the baddest of the worst players should be able to do something, unless they're completely AFK. Even their auto attack should do something. I don't know if you've noticed, but you should have noticed that the majority or a vast proportion of your DPS actually comes from normal attacking. There's usually a spell, like you have a main nuke. All the classes have been sort of separated into something pretty easy. That now come with sort of graphical options, like obliterate crits, you get the lovely option. Explosive shots on lock and load, things like that. Everything seems to, but look at the auto attack damage. It's really high. It's really, really high. And that is done with a justifiable reason that even if someone has no idea how to play their class, they will still contribute a good 50% of their potential DPS. And 50% is more than enough to actually complete a dungeon. It's all designed around that way. The game is designed in such a fashion that if you don't know anything about your class, you know, you're just going in there, you're spamming death coils as a frost DK, you're just doing all sorts of crazy, nonsensical shit, it won't matter. You'll still get a good chunk of DPS out of the fact that you're actually attacking the mob. And any extra spells you cast in will just be a bonus. Of course, you're not going to reach massive heights doing that, but that's not what it's designed around. It's designed around a couple of people knowing what they're doing, and everybody else can go ahead and just sort of dribble their face at the boss, and they'll still get somewhere. They'll still contribute, and the boss will still die, and success rate will increase. I'm sure the success rate of Mr. Pandaria Heroics is astronomically high. I would be surprised to see anything past probably 5 or 6% failure rate for Mr. Pandaria Heroics. I can't possibly imagine that. I can't think it's there. The LFR is exactly the same. I would say they presume at least 20, 30, maybe 40% of people have a clue what's going on and can use their class. Everybody else can literally do whatever the fuck they want. The boss will still die. The boss will still die, and that is how it's designed. I don't think gear is encouraged, and the item level restrictions, which is the proponent of this email, is a way of trying to get people to have more fun. It's kind of that idea, but it's more to increase success rate. Otherwise, people wouldn't queue anymore. You just wouldn't queue. If LFR was a permanent failure, can you imagine? If LFR's success rate was around 10-15%, nobody would queue for it. Because it would be a wipe. And people hate wiping. They can't stand wiping. Wiping is associated with astronomical failure by people who don't really understand raiding, generally. Wiping is a natural part of raiding. It's what you do. That's how you learn. Is you try and you fail and then eventually you succeed. But a lot of players don't agree with that. They see everybody dying as failure. Complete failure with no hope of success. Therefore, if LFR was like that, if there was a 10-15% chance of success in an LFR, you would not queue for it. You wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't like queuing for it now. It's nearly 100% success rate. I just don't like it. I just don't like it, but that's not the reason. It's purely based on the idea that you kind of have to do it sometimes, you know? So that was my take on it. I thought you had some good points there. Easy gear is definitely helpful to the mass market. Success rate is helpful to the mass market. It's just not that direct synergy that you were aiming for in the email. I disagree with that, but the points overall, very correct. So it was good to get some good feedback on your gear stuff. I really like that. All right, Balls, have I got any quick questions before I leave you? Very quick questions. I've got about 5 more minutes, then I have to get back to work, unfortunately. And also, this screen is hurting my eyes incredibly. Big Joe, in your tanky videos, you mentioned getting enough stamina to have survived 2 hits. Is that 2 normal hits or special hits, or how do you know what the value is? Should be 2 normal hits or 1 big special hit. Some of the big special hits you just can't possibly survive without various cooldowns. Impale, Madness of Deathwing for one. There are some abilities like that, but in essence, you need to be able to survive 2 normal hits. There is always that chance that you will get hit pretty quickly, back to back. You don't want to die in that situation. You need to be alive, but that's it. And pretty much, you will get that from normal tanking gear. Stamina is not something you really should be worrying about. Either Emma's home or Ben's learnt to use the radio. Stamina isn't something you should be worrying about on any tank class, because stamina really doesn't matter. So you should be fine with it, okay? I always say that because if someone might check that video in 5.2, I don't know what's in 5.2, and therefore I want you to be prepared for it. But the stamina to secure 2 hits, just 2 normal swings, and you should be fine. You might get hit twice as you run in, and you haven't got enough hots and shields or whatever, which you should do, but that's it. Okay. After the guides are finished, we start doing workshops again. I will do a workshop on Saturday. I am not getting any relevant footage from you guys. Simple as. I love doing the workshop. Workshops are incredibly fun for me. I just don't have any good videos submitted by you guys. Simple as. The workshop is there to be used. If you are struggling in a raid, send me a workshop. Very easy. Send me a workshop. I have a couple, but they're not long enough to show. So... there you go. Simple as. Send me a workshop. More than fine. How do I feel about infestor balance? I'm not into the balance of Starcraft 2 at the moment anyway. And at the moment, I'm not really concerned about much of anything with Heart of the Swarm coming. I'm actually so far away from being interested in Starcraft 2 at the moment. Starcraft 2 for me is in a very dangerous spot and it needs to pull its finger out. And the organizations who hold tournaments need to start combining their efforts. There is too much Starcraft 2 out there to watch. And only really dedicated people who have a lot of free time can keep up to date. They really can. And the players are playing in all different leagues. If StarCraft 2 wants to become a legitimate esports, there needs to be a Premier League. There needs to be that major MLB, NBA. There needs to be that one fucking league where the best of the best are. And the other leagues need to be supporting that league and money passed down to it. And just... move up. So if MLG, DreamHack and IPL just join forces, they're seeing it. They're seeing this happen. There is so much StarCraft 2 going on. So I want to read the article. If you can link it to me, Squaffy, link it. They need to do it. It was very obvious about 6 months ago there was too much StarCraft 2. It was everywhere, all day, every day, multiple channels, different tournaments, all sorts of fucking crap going on. This is the Iron Squid tournament today. Now I'm playing in this tournament. Now I'm playing in MLG. Players are flying all over the world. They're not playing at the best. I hate it when I'm seeing reports of StarCraft 2. And let's say one of my favourite games I was most looking forward to was Idra versus Nest-T. And Idra had flown from fucking, Sweden or something the night before and played the best Zerg player in the world 3-4 hours later. Nest-T had been there for 3 days and was fully rested up, and Idra looked like he was about to fucking die. I'm not saying I'm an Idra fanboy, but... there you go. You know, that kind of shit is just terrible. You don't have fucking the best players in the world flying in hours before they have to play. It's absolutely terrible. Okay. Any more questions? I didn't see any more. Yeah, GSL's great, but GSL you have to pay for and all that kind of stuff. But we're talking about the North American stuff. GSL's bigger in Korea. The diehards guys, I know, love the GSL. I personally don't enjoy the GSL. Plus, I don't like all the names that named after like Pokemon and shit. Nest-T's Code A? Shocking. Shocking. Poor old Nest-T. Why do you say ignore hit and expertise in your prop warrior guide? They're essential to generating rage and therefore mitigating damage. I'd probably revise that purely because I hate the idea of the hit and expertise thing. I hope it gets changed. It's really boring. Prop warriors in general I think are just disgustingly boring right now. That's my pure opinion of it. They're really, really boring. I still, even with the prop warrior, I'm not really feeling it that much. When I play my prop warrior, I do not feel rage starved or defensive cooldown starved in any situation. But I'm not raiding hardcore, so I'm not going to say that. I would probably revise the hit expertise thing now purely to go with the flow. That's how the game is going. I'll quite happily say that. That is the way the game is going. But I still have not found any trouble. I mean, you only have shield slam to generate rage. Really. A big, powerful rage. And it's like... I still was hitting all my shield slams, really. I didn't feel it that much. To be honest, I'm that fucking bored with the way tanking is right now, I couldn't give a shit. As lazy as that sounds, I just couldn't care less. Tanking is not what tanking used to be. Tanking is retarded right now, in my full opinion. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't feel like I'm tanking. It just feels stupid. It feels like I'm generating rage to press shield block and shield barrier more. That is not skill. It's not fucking interesting. It's boring as fuck. I'm so unhappy with where tanking is right now. I think tanking has just become this idiot DPS spec that anybody can do, really. There's some difficult things going on in tanking right now a little bit, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I enjoyed being awesome at tanking, but there's nothing of value in tanking anymore. I'm struggling to see the value in tanking. I try to explain that feeling in a way that makes sense, but it's just, there used to be at least 7 or 8 different things that you had to monitor very, very closely while being a tank, and now there's, what, a couple at max. One of them is making sure you hit your rage or chi generating abilities or your fucking... I think blood DKs are just miles ahead of the pack right now in terms of fun to play. I wouldn't mind playing a blood DK for now until it gets changed in some fashion. In terms of this active mitigation model, the active mitigation of some of the classes just doesn't work. They're just not designed around that way. And blood DKs are just... I've been working towards active mitigation for 3 years, and they were designed with active mitigation in mind, as were monks. Monks work relatively well, but they just spin plates with buffs and debuffs, which is boring as shit as well. It's not a playstyle choice. It's more like, can you keep this up and this up and this up? If you like micromanagement, as a player, okay, as a player who doesn't like micromanagement and enjoys skillful play done with a class that makes sense, I'm not a huge fan of Brewmaster Monks because they're very micromanagement. I'm a fan of Blood DKs because they're straight up brutal and their active mitigation model is absolutely perfectly designed. Everybody else's, the Prot Paladin active mitigation model is a fucking farce. It's an absolute joke. It really is. I think it's so badly designed. They're trying to shoehorn, which, if you don't know what that means, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. They're trying desperately to keep the style of Prot Paladin play and squeeze it into the active mitigation model. It hasn't worked. It's just boring. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Prot Warriors are just now completely limited. Heroic Strike is next to fucking worthless in most situations. So you're either pressing shield barrier or shield block and keeping shield slam on cooldown. The rest of it is boring as fuck. Which is horrible for me to say because I love that class. Feral Druids are... The most exciting thing I could find about the Feral Druids when I did the guides is that I had a heal instead of something that was an absorb. I had dodge or heal. That was the most exciting thing. And it's... you know what I mean? That says everything. That's the most exciting thing I could find in that. It really was. Because it stopped the stupid discussion of should I absorb or should I block. Who fucking cares? They're both really boring. These are both really boring. How do you send a recording of my gameplay? This is the last question I'll do. I assume me for the workshop. There is a video on my YouTube channel called How to Submit to the Workshop. And it tells you everything you need to do there. Where to send it, how to upload it, how to record it, more importantly, and get it sent to me. Alright guys. I'm going. The daily times are not going to change. I literally, it doesn't make sense. It would hurt the show, I think, if I changed the times. I could either make it earlier to most of my audience is European at the moment. There are some, obviously, some people from America, Australia, and so on and so forth. And I love you guys tuning in. But majority, due to the time, is European. If I make it later, a lot of you will be raiding. If I make it earlier, a lot of you will still be at work, at school, so on and so forth. So I'm going to keep it the same. And ultimately, I walk Ben earlier. I get back and do the show, and then I work longer. So the solution was for me to just work longer. That was the answer, was just for me to work longer. If I work longer, it works out better for you guys. So there you go. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. All right, ballers. I'm going to go. See you later. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to have some good fun tomorrow. Bye.